Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Tekgamer's World. Today, the third and final trailer from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was released by Nintendo, and it was totally awesome. Now, the trailer was super cool and showed a lot of different story points for the upcoming game. The one part that I noticed that stood out the most, and if it's true, is going to make for an absolutely amazing story. So let's go ahead and view the part of the trailer that really caught my eye. So here we go. Right here. Now, anyone who has played Skyward Sword in the past has a pretty good idea of what and who we're looking at. I believe that this is none other than Demise from Skyward Sword. Now, what exactly are we looking at? And why do I think it's Demise? Well, let's take a closer look. You can see on the right here, this definitely looks to be a hand. You can see the other arm over here, a robe similar to what Demise wore in Skyward Sword, and that long flowing red glowing hair that he had. Now I definitely think that this is Demise from Skyward Sword, and if it is, it's going to make this storyline in Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom super awesome. So let's dig into this a little more and see what exactly I think it is that we're looking at here. So if you noticed, in this part of the trailer, we saw Hyrule Castle rising into the sky. What I think we're looking at here is Demise standing on Hyrule Castle looking at a blood moon. Now, why do I think this? Well, number one, we saw the Hyrule Castle rising into the sky in the previous portion of this trailer. We know what blood moons are from Breath of the Wild, and it would make sense that Demise is standing here because he is familiar with the risen land from Skyward Sword, and he wanted to conquer all of Hyrule. Now, do I think Demise is the main character in Tears of the Kingdom, the main antagonist, I should say? No, I don't think so. I think Ganondorf is going to be, or Ganon, we'll call him Ganon, and every incarnation of Ganon is different. Ganondorf, Ganon, Calamity Ganon. I'll just call him Ganon. I think that Ganon is controlling Demise. Now, why do I say that? If you watched the second trailer, you hear a voice talking about destroying Hyrule, and everyone assumed that that was Ganon. What I think it actually was it was Ganon talking to Demise, telling him to destroy Hyrule, and I think that Demise is going to use the Blood Moon to destroy Hyrule, because that would be evident in some of the trailers that we've seen. Now, where did Demise come from? Well, I mean, that's hard to tell. The story of Demise is this. In Skyward Sword, he was Link's main arch nemesis. You defeat him at the end of the game and save Zelda. In doing so, you sealed Demise away inside of the Master Sword. By doing that, you essentially stopped him from taking over Hyrule. But he warned you that he would be back in the future in different incarnations, more or less, to get his revenge on you, basically. And that's where the storyline of Link and his arch nemesis kind of starts, because Skyward Sword predates every other version of Zelda, timeline-wise, before the splits and all that stuff. So it's safe to assume that's why Demise is back. Now, where did he come from? My theory is that Demise escaped from the Master Sword. Now you're asking, where do you come up with that from? The main premise of all the Legend of Zelda games is always Link, the Master Sword, Zelda, stuff like that. I find that the trailers, especially the third one, has a pretty heavy focus on the Master Sword. I think Demise escaped from the Master Sword, and essentially now it's broken and is not going to function properly until certain events occur throughout the storyline of the game. I think that Ganon is controlling Demise throughout Tears of the Kingdom and is going to use him to essentially try and destroy Hyrule. And that's evident by what I'm seeing in this trailer here. it seems like they showed Demise before Ganon, which was surprising. So when I saw this, I was shocked. I'm like, there's no way they're going to bring back Demise. I didn't even think about that because, Breath of the Wild was so Calamity Ganon focused. His non-humanoid form, he was that giant spider-looking thing. Then he was that giant beast that mimicked Twilight Princess. So I fully anticipated this game would be all about Ganondorf, the humanoid version of Ganon. That turned out to be true, as we know by the end of this trailer. But when they showed this Demise part, it totally blew my mind. Now you're saying, how can Demise and Ganon exist at the same time? You have to remember, Demise is not Ganon. Ganon is not Demise. Demise's evil has been reincarnated time and time again after his defeat in Skyward Sword. It doesn't necessarily mean it's Demise. Everybody always assumed that Ganon was just a reincarnation of Demise that changed over and over again. I don't think that's the case. I think Ganon is a separate reincarnation of the embodiment of evil or darkness, power. He always wanted the Triforce of power. So that's my theory, is that Ganon made Demise get out of the Master Sword, or Demise found a way out of the Master Sword because it weakened, and now he's set free and Link's going to have to stop him as well as Ganon. My theory for the game, Tears of the Kingdom, is going to be that the Master Sword is broken and Demise is actually the one who's causing these floating islands to occur, not Ganon. Because that would make sense, because what do we remember from Skyward Sword? The upper world, the loft wing, all that stuff were essentially, floating islands. So that's to make sense in Tears of the Kingdom with the Demise, arc being there, which would make for a really cool storyline. There's also theories, and now I don't necessarily believe this theory, that Tears of the Kingdom is not actually a sequel to Breath of the Wild, but is actually a prequel to Skyward Sword, and that the characters that we see in Skyward Sword, Link, Garenheim, Demise, don't have any previous recollections of their past lives, so to speak. Now, is this theory accurate? I don't believe so, because the events of Breath of the Wild are kind of known to take place like 10,000 years after the events of other games, especially when there were those splits with the other Zelda timelines and stuff like that. So I feel that Tears of the Kingdom is a sequel to Breath of the Wild because of things that you see, Kakariko Village, the people, living outside of the ruins of Hyrule Castle, trying to just get on with their lives. That looks to be a direct result of the events of Breath of the Wild 2 to 3 years after. Now, it's not entirely out of the question that this game could be a prequel to Skyward Sword because, again, here's Demise. We're looking, at him in this game. At least that's what I think it is. So could this game be a prequel to Skyward Sword? Possibly. The events of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom could very well be a prequel to Skyward Sword, and just none of the characters have any recollection of their previous lives, so to speak. It's entirely possible. Could Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom be, reincarnations of Link and different sections of Hyrule and caught in some sort of time, like parallel universe lapse thing where you've got the Temple of Time in one spot, but it's destroyed, and then you've got Hyrule Castle looking nice like we saw in the trailer. It's possible. This picture of Demise could just be a cutscene from just one part of the video game. I don't think so. I think Demise is going to play a pretty important role in this. Now, the whole prequel thing. I mean, other games have done this before. Dragon Warrior 3 on the Nintendo Entertainment System, the US version, or Dragon Quest 3, did this. Everybody thought that game was just your generic sequel to Dragon Quest Dragon Warrior 2. Turned out that Dragon Quest 3 was actually a prequel to the original Dragon Quest 1, and you were what started the storyline of Edric. So is it possible that Nintendo is just tricking everyone up? Maybe. But I think it's more likely that Tears of the Kingdom is going to be a sequel to Breath of the Wild, and they're just reintroducing Demise into the Nintendo Zelda universe because he's always been there. He's just been, trapped inside the Master Sword, so to speak. So I think that's going to be really cool. I'll be curious to see how, this game plays into the previous events of Breath of the Wild, and if it has anything to do with like Hyrule Warriors, where the whole storyline of Breath of the Wild never actually occurred because, the little Pterodigo guy time traveled, and then you stopped Calamity Ganon and all the blights and all that stuff. So I don't know if they're going to play into that at all, but I'm definitely super excited for this game, and seeing what I think is Demise, it's going to make this game just totally awesome. But I'm curious about what everybody else thinks. I mean, do you think here that this is Demise? I do. I mean, it looks exactly like him. And like I said in the other trailers, you hear what we assume to be Ganon's humanoid form talking to someone, telling him that Hyrule should be destroyed. I think he's talking to Demise, and I think Ganon is using Demise to accomplish his evil things because he's either weakened or trapped somewheres. They did show that one trailer where they found a body underneath what was assumed to be underneath the castle, probably Ganondorf. So he may not just be, strong enough to do what he wants to do from his evil point of view, so he's using Demise. And Demise is controlling the red moons, which is going to make stuff fall, which would make monsters appear again. That's what my theory is. But curious to see what everybody else thinks. If you could drop a comment on this video with what your thoughts are, let's talk about it and have a, open discussion about it. We have about a month until this game comes out, till we can find out for sure whether or not any of these theories are even true. I'm super excited for the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom game to come out. I'm having a live stream event on May 12th, 2023 at 12 a.m. sharp. I'll probably start about 5 minutes early to play The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom the minute it's made available. I do a full gameplay with live video and commentary and do some giveaway prizes for everybody. So if you want to join, there's a link in the description to the live stream event. You can just click on it and then enable notifications to be alerted when I start the live stream. I would love to see everybody there. As always, if you could click that like button and subscribe to my channel, and make sure you enable notifications as well, because I'm going to have new and exciting content around Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and every other video game I play coming soon. Thanks a lot, everybody, and I will see you around. Have a great day.